Hello, I'm Bruce Lorincz, and this show's called Bruce on the Loose. I talk to people in city government, new businesses in town, the school system, and many other venues. We did a show recently with Habitat for Humanity, and the other day we went to Akron and did Firestone Stadium, where they right now this week doing the small college tournament. The MAC tournament is the following week, and the Ohio High School softball state tournament is the last week in May. So hope you can watch those particular shows. Jaxon Joy is with us. What a wonderful Wadsworth athlete. Jaxon, congratulations, a three-time, not one, not two, but three-time state champion. Has it hit you yet, the notoriety that you have done in your wrestling career?
Yeah, I think the past couple of weeks has kind of hit me that wrestling for Wadsworth's done with for me, but yeah, I've just been trying not to focus on it too much, just moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's true. How about supporting cast? I'm sure your parents and friends and fellow wrestlers and coaches, are there some people that you would like to go ahead and talk to?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that were a part of it for me, and I wouldn't be here without my dad, who was a coach, and then the whole Wenger family. They've been great to me and my teammates for our careers, and yeah, I'm gonna miss them a lot, but I know they'll be around, they'll be supporting still, and if I ever need anything, I can always go to them.
It's tremendous effort on your part with the focus. It's a long wrestling season. Mm-hmm. People get injured. People have grade issues. People lose their focus. What were some of your tricks of the trade that you kept your focus?
I'd say for me, I really loved wrestling, and I still do. It's something that I think about a lot, and it doesn't really take much for me to stay focused. I'm pretty disciplined, and I wanna win. So yeah, I've over the years I've just learned to I got to do what I got to do to win, and takes some hard work and a lot of support, like I said, from the Wenger family, my dad and my teammates. So yeah, I mean, with the situation I'm in, it's kind of hard to not be focused, right? Because it's just fun.
Why have you strived to be one of the best wrestlers ever to come out of Wadsworth, and as far as the county and also the state of Ohio? Yeah, I just don't really like to lose that much, so I'm a pretty competitive kid, and I would say I never really thought of it like that, though. I never really said I want to be the best in Wadsworth. I kind of always just wanted to be better than I was the year before, and just continue to get better and just be the best I can, because yeah, I've just been competitive since a young age, so I think that was a big factor in it. What about the Wadsworth wrestling tradition? You certainly represented the school very well, but there were a lot of wrestlers before you, and we'll talk to Nick Tavanello coming up, another three-time state champion. How did that motivate you?
Yeah, just seeing the success that future guys had that went through the same program that I did. It was great for me to see at a young age, and to know that, I mean, if they did it, I can do it too. And they were always really great to me. Like Tavanello, I always see him at stuff, and then Noah Boffman too. Their family's always been supportive for me, and just those relationships I build with them are just as a person too, not just as a wrestler, inspire me. Noah,
by the way, went to Elon University, where my youngest daughter went, so there's a tie there. And I think he went into football there, played a little quarterback.
Yep.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. How did you control your weight? Now, you jumped weight. We talked to you after your junior year, and you were going to jump weight classes. How difficult was that?
It wasn't too bad. I mean, my freshman and sophomore year, I cut a little bit of weight, but it was nothing crazy. And then my junior year, I didn't. And then this year, I jumped up a lot, like you said. It was just, it was more freedom, just going into practice, focusing on getting better and having fun, rather than, I never had to think about my weight. I was just having fun competing.
Now, how many weight classes was that when you're going into your senior year? Was it 2?
3, yep.
Oh, 3.
Yeah.
Wow, unbelievable. So you wrestled what as a junior?
132.
And then as this 150?
Yep.
Holy Toledo.
Yeah.
So that really probably allowed you to, and your mom probably was just a wizard with what you could eat.
Yeah.
And at lunch you probably had to pack and everything, right?
Right, yeah, just getting in the best food I can and just,
Right.
yeah.
What about any funny stories as you are a youth wrestler or a middle school wrestler, just kind of with the headlights and trying to find yourself? Any stories that you could tell our viewing audience?
Yeah, I don't know about anything really specific, but me and Chris Ernest, who was also state champ for Wadsworth a couple years ago, we traveled a lot when I was younger, and I think that was a great part of our success. Like for both of us, I mean, not only were we getting great matches in, but we had a ton of fun, and I mean, we grew really close, consider him like a brother. So those are definitely some of the better memories I've had.
I think he's wrestling in North Carolina, isn't he? Trying to help me out with the college. Yeah, Campbell University. Yeah, we had him on the show, and seems like some of the wrestlers are really continuing their education.
Yeah.
You know, there was a joke years ago that wrestlers weren't very intelligent, and now you and your fellow athletes are really putting that to shame.
Yeah.
No question about it. What about wrestling as a freshman? You did middle school, you did youth. It's a different ball game at the high school, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so freshman year, it was, you learn a lot of lessons early on, and I think that is the way you react to those lessons are kind of what shape you down the road. So I took some bumps, but, I use it as motivation and just learning lessons. I just continue to have fun, and I think it was a great learning lesson, yeah.
As athletes and wrestlers gave back to the program, how do you feel like you can give back to the program and maybe help younger wrestlers?
Yeah, right now I try to run some practices for a group of guys, and then just showing up to their events when I can, and just being a good role model too as a person. I try to value that over my success as a wrestler. Just if I want one thing for them to remember me about, is just that I was a good guy. So I'd rather them grow up to be good men than great wrestlers. So hopefully I was able to be a good role model for them.
We talked a little bit a moment ago about your freshman year. You qualified for the state tournament your freshman year. Tell me your first impression walking in the Schottenstein Arena.
Yeah, I was pretty thrilled. I know it can be pretty nerve-wracking, and my first year there it definitely was. The lights, they're bright, and it's nerve-wracking, and then I'd say after the first time it was just strictly fun from there on out. I didn't really get nervous, and I think I kind of thrived under the lights, and it made it even more fun to wrestle.
So I hear you saying going through it one time kind of relaxes you, and you kind of know what to expect, and your focus is on your opponent and what you need to do, and listening to your coaches, and all the crowd annex and what they're doing really doesn't impact what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. It just knowing that I'm in control of what happens is huge, and just the fact that a lot of people are going to get to watch it.
What goes into that first match? Do your coaches sit down with you and say, you're wrestling an athlete from Toledo or Cincinnati? Because again, Division I, we represent schools from all over the state of Ohio. And tell me what goes through prior to the match. Yeah,
so prior to the matches, it kind of just depends on the athlete. But for me, I try to just focus on me. Sometimes you gotta prepare for a specific guy, but I'd say for the coaches, kind of just reminding me to be myself and have fun and try to score as many points as I can. So when I focus on those things, I think the results are pretty good. And so I think that's what the coaches definitely were pushing for me.
Now, sometimes you will run across wrestlers in tournaments over the summer. You may have invitationals where they showed up with their team. So it isn't always secretive, but sometimes teams don't always get to those invitationals or the summer meets, and you do have to do some background. But does it help a little bit to have wrestled someone before?
Yeah, it definitely does. And we wrestle a really tough schedule, so we see all the big teams earlier on. We see like St. Ed's and Brecksville a couple times, Massillon Perry. So most of us, we know we've wrestled those guys, and even if we haven't wrestled them, we've seen them wrestle at tournaments. And so just being familiar with that definitely helps a ton, just helping you prepare mentally for the match.
Yeah, that really, the athletic director and staff scheduling you some very difficult tournaments, and the Grizzly Invitational had people from other states, teams from other states. That has to make you happy that they'll come and travel here and, you know, have to stay here, buy meals and everything, and, and help the economy a little bit too.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It just shows how deep our tradition is at Wadsworth Wrestling, and you know, yeah, we have, like you said, the GIT. We have teams from all over come, and
right.
It's a great thing.
What about, did you need any help, or your teammates needed help from our training staff? I think as time goes on, schools have really focused, and Mr. Musgrave was really great in getting full-time staff to help the training and help the athletes.
Yeah, for me, I was fortunate enough to not really have any, you know, issues with that. But yeah, as a team, we really prioritize recovery, and so, you know, there's definitely times where guys are banged up mid-season, and you know, our trainers, they get them right with heating pads, or you know, ice after practice, or wrapping an ankle up or a wrist or something like that. And yeah, we have just, I mean, amazing support from all aspects. We got great coaches, great trainers.
How about the
AD.
Administration?
Yeah.
They certainly,
yes.
you know, couldn't wait to go to the meets and really report back to the students, and they're very, very supportive as well, I imagine.
Yeah, Mr. Sieber's always there. Mr. Suber's at the state tournament. It's great to see those people there, and show that they care about us as athletes and as people in general.
It almost motivates you to try to do as much as you can.
Yeah.
What about the community? Could you go ahead and look into that camera there and, and say, in your 4 years, what the community's meant to you and the wrestling program?
Yeah, I mean, just representing Wadsworth has just been something I've looked forward to doing over the 4 years. I'm going to miss it. I love this town. It's treated me amazing over my my time here, and I'll definitely be back, and I'll try to give back as much as I can, but I doubt anything I do can make up for what I've been given.
Pretty good drive to Cornell University. How did that happen? How did Cornell recruit you, and how did you sign on the dotted line there?
Yeah, so after June 15th of going into your junior year is when they can reach out, and so I heard from them right away, and Cornell was always a team that I loved watching wrestle, and their coaches are great, and so I was pretty thrilled when I got contacted by them, and then I took my visit there, and shortly after I decided that that's where I want to go. So yeah, I was committed for a while, and then this fall I was able to finally sign the dotted line.
Not easy to get in, very, very difficult
Right.
institution. And will you be studying general studies or anything specific?
Yeah, the program I'll be in is like kind of a general study kind of thing. My goal is to coach college wrestling when I'm done. So yeah, just build some education in that department with like sports science, the mental part, leadership, stuff like that.
Right. We will go ahead and see if we can get in contact with Nick Tavanello from Columbus, Ohio, and this show will continue once we get a hold of Nick. Thank you so much for viewing. Back with Bruce on the loose, and we're talking to the initial three-time state wrestling champion from Wadsworth High School, and I might add, the only two in Medina County history. Nick Tavanello from Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for joining us today.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here.
How about your career? Where did you begin in youth wrestling and then carried on to the middle school? Any stories that you'd like to share with our viewing audience?
I mean, when I started wrestling, I was like 5 years old, and wrestling never ran in my family. It was never something we all did. And my dad was really close with the Randolph family, who's pretty big in Wadsworth wrestling. And when I couldn't play Pee Wee football anymore because there was a weight limit, they convinced me to start wrestling. And it was probably the best decision they ever made. My parents ever made for me. And, you know, I think for the first like 3 years, I was wrestling kids all older than me. So I didn't win a single match for like the first 3 years that I wrestled.
Wow.
So it's really like um, crazy how much support I had and how much support came to help keep me in the sport and keep me moving forward. Because I was not a naturally gifted wrestler when I started.
Yeah, a lot of students and individuals would have had that failure, I guess, and just said, "Well, enough of this. I'm not going to continue. I've been frustrated enough. I'm not going to continue to do this."
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you have to find the joy in the sport too. You find the fun you have of just being there and being active and doing the work. My parents were really good at not putting too much pressure on me to be successful from a young age. So I just was able to enjoy it. I think G has stories of me running around when I was a kid, just being crazy in the room. Um, but yeah, I just enjoyed it. And then once I started understanding um, how good I could be and what I could do, I started getting more competitive and it started seeing more success. And so I always think that's super important in athletics, especially coming up through the youth.
Jaxon Joy is with us, and I'd like you to comment and say something to him, and vice versa. Jaxon going to Cornell University, continuing his wrestling career as you did at Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, as you get into college, and you just got to remember where you came from and all the work that you put in to get to where you are, and all the work there still is to come. Always got to stay hungry to be competitive and go out there and compete, and be open and willing to listen to those around you, absorb, and just continue to get better.
Jaxon, what would you want to say to Nick?
Yeah, I agree. Just staying competitive is huge, and then also just how you and like Noah and Bobby and all of them were just huge inspirations for me as a kid to show me that I can have great success at Wadsworth. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Seems like we've
Of course.
mentioned some families along the way. Why does wrestling, Nick, appear to be so much family oriented?
I would say because wrestling and a lot of individual sports require a lot of family sacrifice. You don't have, especially in off-season wrestling, you don't have, a team that's always taking you somewhere to go or the accommodations for transportation and where to go. So family and the support of family and coaches is so important in it because they get you where you need to be. They sacrifice a lot of time and money to help us be successful from that early age. And, without that, we don't really get to become the wrestlers that we know we can be. Every individual wrestler has a good support system um, and they can't do it alone. I think that goes with anything. You can't be successful, trying to do it by yourself.
A long time ago, wrestling at Wadsworth was subpar. And suddenly John Gramuglia comes in from the Cleveland suburbs. And what about John Gramuglia? Why was he such a motivator and such an organizer and such a winner in Wadsworth wrestling?
I'd say it's his belief system. I think he has so much faith in his wrestlers and the hard work that they put in, and then just a relationship he builds with them. He knows how to help wrestlers achieve a high level of performance, but builds that trust that's needed to, when you go on the mat individually, to have that coach in the corner that's going to fight for you tooth and nail on the mat because you fought for him tooth and nail in the practice facility. So he just instills us with confidence. He supports us, and he himself sacrificed a lot for us to be successful.
My cousin John Keel was a wrestling official for years, and he said he did not enjoy sometimes refereeing matches with Wadsworth, as Coach G will be watching every inch of his refereeing skills and abilities, and he really fought for his kids, as you said.
Yeah, yeah. There's always stories about that, but the one thing that people will always state is that they always respected him.
Yes,
he had a
yeah.
high respect in the wrestling community.
You're very accurate in that. That's exactly what my cousin John did say. Tell us about the 2010 season where Wadsworth High School ended a 13-year reign from St. Ed's and were state champions. What magical year was that, and what helped Wadsworth to be the state champion?
I know the year before we had a lot of success as well. I think we had won the state duels. So we had a good self-belief system within it. We all knew what we needed to do to win a state title. And it was just the culture of the room and the people that were training together every day, and the support of the coaching staff and our families. They all kind of just helped us to keep that dream in mind, keep achieving it. And when it came down to the state tournament, we all had all put the work in to win that title. We all had, done our job. And then when it came to performing, I think the biggest thing that G was good at was not putting pressure on us. There's no pressure to win a team state title when we went to that state tournament. G pretty much said, you do what you're supposed to do with your individual matches. The state title will fall into place. And by the time we got to finals, that came to fruition. We were in a place to, win the state championship with 6 in the finals, and then ultimately getting 4 champions, sealed the deal for us. And it was just an incredible year. A lot of great camaraderie. A lot of people are trying to achieve an elite level of wrestling. And the brotherhood that came along with that was amazing as well.
Can you recall the other 3 wrestlers? And I think in that state tournament, you wrestled at 215 pounds. Is that correct?
Yeah, I wrestled 215 pounds. We had 6 finalists. Kagan Squire, who took second. Brad Squire, who won it. Loudon Gordon, who won it. Caleb Houston, who was second. Myself, and Ben Bazzelli, a heavyweight.
Boy, there were some wonderful wrestlers there, and the competition was very, very keen as well. It wasn't like it was lopsided. You won by several points, but there was a good competition that year, certainly.
Yeah, there was always good competition every year. Whenever you have guys from St. Edwards in the bracket or from Massillon Perry, there's always good competition. Brecksville was on the rise at that time, and I know now they're pretty big powerhouse in Ohio. So, I mean, you had a lot of great teams in Northeast Ohio and across the state of Ohio that you're competing against. And that's the thing about winning a state title as a team in D1 is there's a lot of great teams. There's a lot of great wrestlers, and to be able to go out there and perform is so important.
I would also mention with the Perrys and the St. Ed's, Wadsworth High School. What sets Wadsworth apart, and why is the community so proud of our wrestling program?
I would say because it's ingrained in Wadsworth. I feel like from a young age, we are training, we're wrestling, and we're getting to connect with the older kids in the program. We're getting connected with the high school kids, and just how there's something for everyone to do within the program. It's not just being a part of a team. It's family. I think all the wrestlers on a team treat each other as brothers. There's so much brotherhood, and we know what we can achieve by doing it together.
It seems like talk about that brotherhood. If someone doesn't have a stellar match, it seems like the other wrestlers pick them up and really are positive, and that really can spill over into the next match, can it?
Yeah, that is very important. And also from when I was in school, um, coaches were very good at evaluating and helping us to um, find little things to improve on that's going to help us to win matches. One small adjustment can make a giant improvement in the sport of wrestling because it's a chess match. You're trying to you're trying to get action, reaction, motion, and trying to get someone to do something that they don't want to do. So in order to achieve that, it takes those small little steps, those small little improvements to make things more achievable, more, make your technical aspect of the sport better and improving that.
Nick, tell us a little bit about your career at Ohio State.
Yeah, I was part of an amazing program at Ohio State. I was there during some of their best years. We won a national championship, two Big Ten titles while I was there. I got to train with some of the most amazing wrestlers. I got to work out with Kyle Snyder, who is an Olympic gold medalist, Terrell Delagnev, who is an Olympic bronze medalist, um, and just some of the teammates that I had: Nathan Tomasello, Bo Jordan, Miles Martin. The list goes on during that time. Um, it was fun. We had a great time. I learned a lot about myself. I grew. Unfortunately, I had some injuries during my college time, but I was a two-time NCAA qualifier, and I was one match away from placing my first year going to the NCAA tournament. I went 4-2, um, and I was ranked as high as ninth in the country at one point. So it was a good college career. I don't have any regrets. Unfortunately, things came to an end more than quicker than I expected, but that's the grind of the sport, and that's what happens. You can't always control when freak accidents happen.
Yeah, that's very true. We talked to Jaxon and I talked about the training staff here at Wadsworth to really kind of help and assist the kids from, and sometimes little injuries can throw off a wrestler with their technique, and that can be very difficult in the match, can it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, little injuries can add up, but it's also just maintaining it, um, figuring out how to get good recovery and making sure you're not injuring it more. And then also, if it's a major injury, taking the time to heal up and let your body completely um, be ready to perform.
Nick, did you feel like the Wadsworth community was really behind you during not only 2010, but your junior and senior year and really wanted you to do the best that you could be?
Yeah, of course. The camaraderie and the brotherhood didn't go away after we won a state title. I think that's just what Wadsworth Wrestling is, and the identity as a program. I think that's why you see so many great wrestlers like Jaxon and Noah Boffman and all them come up through the program because they're going through the same things we were going through. They're having the same relationships that we had. Um, it's super important to Wadsworth and their identity. I think that's why Wadsworth is continually successful is because everyone buys in, everyone does the work, and it shows when the program goes out and performs.
And your example, you start when you're young, and you, even though you lost some matches early on, you probably gleaned something and learned something from those matches, and it probably in the end helped you to be a very, very successful wrestler.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think losing is part of the process. When I got to Ohio State, one of the big things that they talked about was winning and learning and not winning and losing. So when you lose, you have something to improve on, right? You don't take it as a loss. It's like, well, he got the better of me. I made too many mistakes. So, you learn from that, you go and evaluate and grow from it. You don't take it as a loss is, the end of it. It's not. There's a lot more to improve on, there's a lot more to grow. And you gotta go into every match with that mindset. Because if you're not giving 100%, then you're not going to evaluate the proper way.
Nick, what do you do now with your degree from Ohio State? What is your occupation?
So I work for a logistics company out of Columbus, Ohio. I actually work with another alumni from Wadsworth, David Crawley. Um, it's sticking with the Wadsworth Brotherhood, the Wadsworth community. But I live down here in North Columbus with my wife. So it's a nice area. We like it down here, but we always love coming up to Wadsworth.
Yeah,
My
I
whole
know.
family's there.
Once we get to the Franklin County line, it seems like the traffic seems to seem to get really heavy and really a lot of people are growing. It's a growing community, and it's a very state capitals there, of course, and we really enjoy going to Columbus for all sorts of things. Anything that you would again recommend Jackson take care of when he's going to Cornell for continue his wrestling career? What guidance would you give him?
I mean, I would just that win and learn mentality, adapt it, grow with it, allow it to help form you into the next, to help you achieve the next level. It's going to keep you curious, going to keep you hungry, and to keep you testing yourself every match you go into. And just take advantage of the resources that they provide you. I know Cornell has an amazing program. They do a really good job at developing and growing the wrestlers. So lean into that. And you know, allow yourself to be in the community and take care of your academics.
There's a concern that some sports, the participation is really down in some sports, but wrestling with the youth program, the biddy program here, it seems like we're pretty solid with the wrestling number of people here in Wadsworth. That's really important. You can't do it. You can't have open slots. You can't have forfeits along the way, can you?
Nope, that's important to keep growing the program, keep developing kids to step in, and Wadsworth has always done that really well, and that comes from the coaching staff all the way down to the family support and everything. So that's always been something that's been ingrained in Wadsworth wrestling. So I think that's something that's going to stick and stay and help mold the future generation of wrestler.
Jackson, you have a few days left. The countdown is on. The seniors are counting down days. Nick, and I think he's under 10, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what are you doing the last few days here? Are you what about the summer?
Yeah. Yeah. Just I've been wrestling still. I've got a couple tournaments coming up soon, and
Wow.
then, yeah, gonna head to Cornell in the summer and just keep on doing what I do.
Might you take a few classes ahead of time to get a good start and kind of know the lay of the land and
Yep.
things?
Yep.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, gentlemen, my congratulations. The only three-time state wrestling champions in Medina County, and certainly you have brought so much honor and prestige to Wadsworth Wrestling. I congratulate you on that, and it was really exciting for me to do this show. Thank you very much, and we will have it with our community. And thanks for viewing Bruce on the Loose. We appreciate it very much.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.